Hello everybody, it's Mr. Guerra, and today we're going to be creating this fishbowl full of shape fish. And for this project you're going to need 2 sheets of paper. Any color is fine. You're also going to need a pencil, a black marker, and something to color with. I'm going to let you choose whether you want to use crayons, markers, colored pencils, or even watercolors. Okay, just take a few minutes, get out your art supplies, and when we're ready, we will unpause the video and let's begin. Okay, so let's get out our first sheet of paper. Make sure that it is in front of you. Portrait, longest sides on the right and the left. Now, before we even begin starting our fishbowl, let's start by drawing some simple shapes. And as you can see, we're going to start with a square. So give me a nice square. We want to practice our shapes. All right, so I'm going to do a second square. 4 sides, 2 vertical sides, and 2 horizontal sides. Okay, one more just so I can get the hang of it. All right, 2 verticals. All right, and 2 horizontals. Fantastic. Okay, so I've got my 3 squares. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to practice my triangles. So let's do that. A nice upside down letter V with a horizontal line on the bottom. Give me 2 more. All right, upside down letter V, horizontal line connecting them. Now, if you're thinking, Mr. Guerra, seriously, you know we're awesome artists. You're making us draw and practice drawing squares and triangles. Well, not just squares and triangles, but next we're going to do circles. And here's the point. I want you to practice making them in the same way, about the same size. Now, of course, you don't have to be perfect, but I just want you to practice so you kind of get the hang of it a little bit. Just a little warm up. All right, so now as you can see, we're doing 3 circles. The top one isn't as big as the middle one, so I'm going to try real hard to make sure that the bottom 2 are the same or close. Again, they don't have to be perfect. This is just practice. You can see now that I've got my squares. They look fantastic. I've got my triangles and my circles. Now what we want to do is we want to practice rotating these squares. So we're going to pretend like I'm just going to turn it. So with the squares, I want 2 diagonal lines and then 2 diagonal lines in the other direction. So it looks like we tilted our square just slightly to the left. It's still a square, but we kind of turned it in the way that we drew it. Give me another one. 2 diagonal lines, and then 2 diagonal lines going in the other direction. Nice. So now they kind of look like diamonds. It just depends on which way you're looking at it. Okay, now let's rotate our triangles. So I want a letter V that is kind of pointy on the left and open on the right. So give me 2 diagonal lines that touch. There's my letter V on its side. And then a vertical line to connect them. So again, it looks like I've tilted my triangles to the left. Rotating shapes is a great way to get different kinds of artwork accomplished. So whether it's a star, a square, a rectangle, a crescent shape, you can rotate them. Circles can't really be rotated because no matter how much you turn them, it's still a circle. All right, paper number 2. Let's get that out. Portrait again. And we're going to use our practice and our warm-up. So the first thing that I want you to do is start with the tilted square shape, that diamond. So 2 diagonal lines. And notice where I'm drawing on the paper. Another 2 diagonal lines to make it. I'm on the bottom left section, kind of toward the bottom corner of my paper. So that's going to be my first fish. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little dot. And from that dot, I'm going to draw my 2 diagonal lines and then a vertical line. And that's my triangle tilted. And then my circle. Square, triangle, circle, and now they're tilted. This is how we're going to make the basic shapes for our fish. See how my triangle is slightly above my square and my circle? Now let's start with some details on my tilted square. Give me a curved line on the top side down, just like this, and then a little dot for my fish's eyeball. Let's not forget a little fishy smile, so a little curved line underneath my eyeball. And now we're going to make some fishy fins. So extend that diagonal line at the top. Give me like a backwards letter J, and then a diagonal line back. Now a diagonal line on the bottom. And then another diagonal line there. Yep, and then kind of make a little letter V. And now my fish has got some fins. Great. Horizontal line right behind this gill here, this curve line. So there's one. And then I'm going to kind of make another letter V. And that's my fishy fin. Looks great. And the tail fin. So you can see that I'm making another letter V, except I'm connecting them on the back end with a curve line. Now if we're going a little too fast, don't forget to ask the teacher to pause the video so you can catch up. Okay, let's start on our next fish. Start with that top curve line, that's the gill. And then the dot. And a little tiny smile inside my tilted triangle. And now this time I want you to give me kind of a half a crescent. It's like a shark fin. And then on the bottom, we're going to do those double lines with an upside down letter V. Give me 2 diagonal lines for a big tail fin. And then a diagonal, it's not diagonal, I'm sorry. It's a letter V that points to the left. Okay, our final fish is the circle fish, so we're going to do the gill with the eyeball, another little fishy smile. Great. And now what I'm going to do is a curve line that goes up and to the right. Good. And then I'm going to kind of do like a backwards number 3 and connect it to the top of the head. Great. All right, looks good. Now I'm going to do that same kind of fin on the bottom. See how I did the same shape for all 3 fish? So hopefully you got some good practice in for that. All right, now I'm going to curve up and curve down for the tail fin and then just connect them with a curve line. And I've got my 3 fish. Don't forget those details. So for this one, I'm going to do that side fin that comes out of the gill area. So off that curve line, I've got my side fin. Okay, now it's time to draw the actual fishbowl. So very carefully, give me a giant letter U. Now hopefully, instead of a marker, you've been using a pencil. A marker is being used during this video because pencils don't show up really great all the time for these videos. So you should be using a pencil, and then once you're satisfied with the drawing you've made, cover it with a marker. Now, a curved line on top of the fishbowl. Excellent, excellent. I like it, I like it. Okay, but we don't want it to just leave it there. We want it to look a little 3D, so give me another curved line on the top. And now it looks like the fishbowl is open on the top, so you can feed the fish. And we're going to be doing that in just a second. Give the fishbowl a lid by drawing another line right underneath your first curved line at the top. And on the bottom, we're going to give these fish some rocks to swim around. Just some like decoration, some little pebbles at the bottom of the fishbowl. And if you want to add your own cool details, maybe a submarine or a treasure chest or an anchor or something like that, I encourage you to add your own cool details inside your fishbowl just to make it your own, artistically. You know, Mr. Guerra loves it when you guys are creative and surprise me with cool things. Now, how about some dots? I mean, the fish have to kind of swim around, right? So they're gonna be getting some dots, and that's gonna help it look a little bit more like they're actually in water in the fishbowl. Okay, great, great, great. I like what I'm seeing. Okay, so next, let's do the horizon line. So just a horizontal line from the left side, stop at the fishbowl and continue it on the other side. So it looks like the fishbowl is now on a table. Great job. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop in some fish food. So I'm just going to put a bunch of dots. Remember, we're going to place them. If you're pecking at it super fast, that's going to actually damage your pencil tip. It's going to damage your marker. So make sure that you're gently adding these dots above the fishbowl. Then on the bottom of the fishbowl, you can add some cool details like something on the table surface or wherever your fishbowl happens to be. So if you want to draw like a pencil, look around at your tabletop on your desk. What would be in your fishbowl? If you had a fishbowl right in front of you, what would be on top of your desktop? Okay, so after that, I want you to Sharpie trace on top of your artwork, and you can go ahead and start coloring it just as soon as you're ready. Here's an example of what you can do. You can see that I used some watercolor. I mixed some green and blue for the water, and I was very careful with my shading for the fish. Oh man, it looks great. And don't forget to color those pebbles in. Now, for being extra awesome, if you have extra time, color the tabletop. Color the items you drew on the tabletop and the background. All right, I think this looks amazing. Great job. Don't forget to take a picture, upload it to Schoology, and I'll see you next time.